Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to take just a few minutes to speak about my colleague from Colorado, Senator Cory Gardner, the kid from Yuma, as he described himself a minute ago, to recognize the work that we've done for our state together in a bipartisan way. Over the past 6 years, Madam President, one of the most common and sometimes surprising questions I get from reporters and constituents was, how's your relationship with Senator Gardner? Can you work together with Senator Gardner? It's an innocent question, but I've come to think about it as a reflection of the sad state of our politics and the Senate for the moment in particular. Behind the question is the assumption that because Cory is a Republican and I'm a Democrat, we somehow can't work together for the benefit of our state. That hasn't been the case, far from it. Sometimes he would say, sometimes I would say that we felt like there were times when we were working together better than states that were represented by two people from the same political party. In this Congress, Colorado was one of just 10 states that wasn't represented by senators from the same party. Think about that. Just one of 10 states with a split caucus in this body. Just 10 out of 50. You'd think it'd be a lot higher given how evenly divided we are as a country, and a lot has been written about the divides in our country today. And one of those divides is the rural-urban divide in America that reporters like to talk about. In our delegation, Cory and I have tried to bridge that, and I have to say it has helped a lot that Cory was born and raised in Yuma, Colorado, a town farm on the Eastern Plains with a population of 3,500 people, roughly, a place where Cory grew up, working in his parents' implement dealership, the red tractors, Madam President, not the green tractors, where community tradition and ties to the land, like a lot of places in our state, run very, very deep. A place where rush hour means getting behind a tractor. It's a beautiful place, and Cory was kind enough to invite me to Yuma after he was elected. During that visit, we made a commitment to work together despite our political differences, which we certainly have, and that's exactly what we tried to do over the past 6 years. We worked together on legislation to ban members of Congress from becoming lobbyists. I tell my colleagues today that I think there would be no bill we could pass that would do more to lift the reputation of this body than that one. Over half the people that leave here and don't retire become lobbyists. It was hard to find somebody to co-sponsor that piece of legislation. Cory saw the benefit of it, and we've been fighting for it ever since. We wrote bipartisan legislation to prevent government shutdowns, to make our energy grid more resilient, to secure funding, as Cory mentioned, for the Arkansas Valley Conduit, a critical water project that Washington has been promising Colorado since John F. Kennedy came to Pueblo when he was president. We fought to hold the VA accountable to care for our veterans across the Rocky Mountain region. With Cory's leadership, we fought together to keep U.S. Space Command in Colorado. We partnered to fund critical improvements to our infrastructure from I-25 along the Front Range to the Southwest Chief. And just last week, Senator Collins, after Colorado, 127 years after Colorado became the first state to grant women the vote by popular referendum, and 100 years after ratification of the 19th Amendment, the Senate passed our bill to install America's first outdoor monument honoring the women's suffrage movement here in Washington, D.C. That was typical of the legislation that we carried together because the idea actually came from Fort Collins, Colorado. It didn't come from Washington, D.C. So many of the best ideas that we worked on together came from Colorado. Cory is a student of Colorado history and the country's history. And he understands the significance of a bill like that. Over the years, we worked together late into the night to help communities across our state get back on their feet after devastating floods, wildfires, the Gold King mine spill in 2015, and now the COVID-19 pandemic, where Cory's leadership was absolutely essential. I could go on all afternoon. The point is, even though Cory and I have had plenty of differences over the years, there's a real record of bipartisan accomplishment for our state. And one of the reasons for that is because whatever our differences on policy, I have never for a moment doubted Cory's commitment to serving the interests of Colorado and his genuine appreciation for what makes us the best state in America. And in a lot of ways, Cory has embodied many of our state's best qualities. We're a young and restless state. Colorado has, and Cory has represented it always with energy and with drive. Agree with him or not, you can't say he hasn't worked hard every single second that he's been here. You probably also heard that Colorado has 300 days of sunshine a year. As it turns out, so does Cory Gardner. It's probably why my staff always told me to smile more at our events together. He's been a consistent source of warmth and optimism in a body desperate for both. He's brought a lot more of it to this chamber than I have, and I'm going to try to make up for it now that you won't be here this year. All of that is to say, I have been grateful, extremely grateful, for the opportunity to work with Senator Gardner over the past 6 years and to do a lot of work together for our state. On a personal level, I'd like to say to his family, I also want to say how much I've appreciated the consistent kindness Cory and Jamie have shown to me and my family, even at moments that have been difficult ones for them. My staff are also deeply grateful for the close collaboration from Cory's team over the years, and I want to thank them for their extraordinary work. I know there are a lot of folks today who've got things to say about my colleague from Colorado, so let me just end with this. Serving in this body, as he said, is an enormous privilege, but as everyone here knows, it does not come without a cost, especially for a parent with young children. And I've watched Cory as his kids have begun to grow up, put his family first at all times, and in our state, a close second behind them. But to watch him get on a plane, as I did this week with his family, the care, the attention that he paid them is a reminder to me, and it has been over the last 10 years, about what's really most important. I will miss our work together, but I suspect Senator Gardner is not done with his contribution to the country, to the state of Colorado, to his community, and I look forward to continuing our work together in whatever capacity he ends up choosing to serve. With that, Madam President, I yield the floor.